Today we're going to learn about rounding whole numbers. When you're rounding numbers, you might come across a problem that looks like this. This problem says round, and we know how to read these numbers. It's 326,205 to the 10,000s place. What digit is in the 10,000s place? What digit is in the 10,000s place? Ideally, you said the digit 2. It's in the 10,000s place. What we're going to do when we're rounding numbers, we're going to go ahead and circle that, and we'll underline the 6. And I'll explain exactly why it is that that's the case in just a little bit. We're going to take a look at that neighbor of the 6. And then so we're thinking whether or not 326,205 is closer to 320,000, or if it's closer to 330,000. So what we can do with that circle digit is that we can keep that circle digit the same, as you see right here, or we can go ahead and increase it, as you see right there. So if we increase it, we would add 1 to it. 2 plus 1 is 3. And as you see as well, any digit after that circled number is going to get changed to 0. So, is 326,205 closer to 320,000, or is it closer to 330,000? Now, if we had a number line, this might be a little bit more clear, halfway in between 320,000 and 330,000, we would see 325,000. Now, if we looked at this number right here again, is this number to the left, or is it to the right of 325,000? It's going to be to the right of 325,000 because of that 6 right there. Because of that 6 right there, it'd be probably right about there on the number line. And so that, if we look at this right here, and that spot right there, that is closer to this 330,000 than it is to that 320,000. Now, drawing this number line when we're rounding every single time, that might be a little bit more difficult. I'm going to teach you another way. Let's take a look. Let's start by taking a look at some numbers that have a tens place and a ones place. We have a tens place here, and we have a ones place right here. 72, is that closer to 70, or is it closer to 80? If we look at the neighbor, we look at the 2, that is going to be closer to 70. It's going to be closer to 70. If we look at 67, it can be either closer to, if we keep that circle digit the same, it can be either closer to 60, or if we add 1 to that circle digit, it can be closer to 70. It can be closer to 70. Is 60 closer to 60? I'm sorry, is 67 closer to 60, or is it closer to 70? Correct answer is it's also closer to 70. Got this last number right here, 84. Okay, and if we got this underlined digit right here of 4, is this closer to 80, or is it closer to 90? It's going to be closer to 80. Taking a look at another problem right here, we have round 813 to the tens place. Round 813 to the tens place. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and find that tens place. So I rewrote the number right here, and I found the tens place. That digit 1 is in the tens place. So I'm going to go ahead and circle it, and I'm going to underline the digit to the right of that circled number. And then so that's what we're going to call the neighbor. And that neighbor is going to be important because we're going to look at the neighbor and figure out whether the neighbor is in between 0 and 4. Whether it's 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Whether it's 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whether it is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or a 9. And by doing so, we get to know whether or not that we add 1 to that circle digit, or whether or not that we keep that circle digit the same. And then so when we're looking at that neighbor, we are looking at that 3. It is in between 0, 1, 2, 3, 0 through 4. It's 3 in this case. So that circle digit is going to stay the same. Now, why is this? Why is this? If we take a look at that number, we're going to either be able to round to 810, or we're going to be able to round to 820. And then, so this is the case where it is that the other step of this rounding process will keep all other digits, and that's the 8 right here, the same. And that's why I have 810 or 820. Now, this is the reason why. Now, if, as you see here, 813, if we place 813 on the number line, 813 on the number line would appear right about here. Halfway on the number line, in between 810 and 820, halfway in between 810 and 820, would be 815. Now, 815, I know that's halfway in between 810 and 820, but when we're rounding, we don't always round at 815. With that 5, that digit right there, it will always go up. So the numbers that would go to 820 and round to 820 besides 815 would be 816, 817, 818, 819. All of those numbers would be closer to 820 than they were closer to 810. The other numbers right here would be 811, 812, 814, all closer to 810 than to 820. Alright, this here is the rounding wrap. Find the place value and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline get it. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. Now flex your muscles like a hero. Digits to the right, change to 0. All other digits stay the same. Yo, you're a winner at the rounding game. Alright, let's go ahead and put this together with a number and see how this wrap helps us to round and be that winner at that rounding game. If you go ahead and read this number first. Ideally, you said 625,603, and we're going to round this to the 10,000s place. 10,000s place. And then so the first line of our rounding wrap says, find the place value and circle that digit. And then so what we're circling is what we are rounding to. And then so in this case, we're rounding to the 10,000s place. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the 2. Now our next line of the rounding wrap says move to the right and underline get it. So we will move 1 digit to the right, and we are going to underline that 5. We're going to be taking a look at the 5. Now we go ahead and look at the next 2 lines. If it says 0 to 4, circle stays the same. So again, we're not looking at that circled number, we're looking at that underlined digit. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. It's not in between 0 and 4, so we're not doing anything there. It says 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. And we are adding 1 to that circled number. And so the 2, if we add 1 to that, we get a 3. A very common mistake is to accidentally add a 1 right here, and then if that was the case, we'd be rounding to the wrong digit. Now it says, now flex your muscles like a hero. Digits to the right, change to 0. And then so after those 2 lines, we can go ahead and write a 5 changes to a 0. 6 changes to a 0. 0, it doesn't change. It is still a 0. And 3 changes to a 0. I have made all of those digits to the right of the circled number 0, as you see right there. It says all other digits stay the same. There's only one other digit in our number what we haven't written down yet. That is the 6. A common mistake would be just to say that 625,603 rounds to 30,000. Those 2 numbers are not close. 30,000 would not be a reasonable answer. And then so you skipped a line in the rounding wrap, so you would not be a winner in this particular case. And then so all other digits staying the same. That 6 stays the same. Stays the same right there. 630,000. That means, and what this means is 625,603 rounded to the nearest 10,000s place is 630,000. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and show you another example. In this case, we're going to go ahead and round this number right here. Read it. All right, and it says round to the thousands place, round to the thousands place. You also might see round to the thousands as your instruction. So our first line of the rounding wrap says find the place value and circle that digit. So if we're rounding to the thousands place, what number are we going to circle? Correct. Next line says move to the right and underline get it. What digit are we going to underline? That's the 6. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. In this case, are we looking at the neighbor or are we looking at that circled digit? We better be looking at the neighbor. We look at the neighbor there. So we look at the neighbor when we're looking at that one there. And then so that we're looking at that underlined digit. So it's not in between 0 and 4, and it's 5 to 9 then, because it's a 6. That means we add 1 as the game. And we're going to go ahead and add 1 to that circled digit. So that 4 becomes a 5. Next line says, now flex your muscles like a hero, digits to the right, change to 0. How many zeros do we end up writing? 3. Correct. Last line of the rounding step says, all other digits stay the same. And so there are 2 other digits that we still have not written down. So the 2 stays the same, and the 1 stays the same. Now, I always like to place my commas to be accurate here and to be precise. So 124,683 rounded to the nearest thousands place is 125,000. Is that answer reasonable? Yes, it is. Let's move on. All right, here are a few more examples. You might come across a problem where it says round to the underlined digit. And then so if we look at that first number, it says 814,295, and rounding to that underlined digit. You don't want to be confused with our rounding wrap, because you might just say, okay, oh, there's another underlined digit, and then you might circle the 8. If you circled the 8, you'd be rounding to the hundred thousands place. Where it says round to the underlined digit, it really actually wants you to round to this underlined digit, which is in the 10,000s place. So we're going to change that underline there to a circle. Move to the right, underline, get it. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. We're looking at that neighbor. Circle stays the same. Flexing our muscles like a hero, digits to the right, change to 0. All other digits stay the same. So yo, you're a winner at the rounding game. Always look to make sure your answer is reasonable. Try the next one on your own. While we're learning, do go through that process. Ideally, you circled that 7. Underline the 3. And here's your answer. Where 627,396 rounded to the nearest thousands place is 620,000. If we had these problems right here, and this is our rounded answer, these are a rounded answer for these 2 problems. Now, what they could ask you is, what place value was this rounded to? What place value was this rounded to? And then so for this first number, if we thought about this, hey, we zeroed out right here. So we always zero out to the right of the circled digit. Now, if we did this, would 82,365, and we thought about our rounding wrap, would that have looked like that there? What place did we round to then? We rounded to the hundreds place, and I'll go ahead and write it like this time. That was rounded to the hundreds place. Now, which place value did we round to here for this number? 961,308. Rounded to the nearest what is 960,000? Which place value? You think, and write down that place value. Is it the 100,000s place? Is it the 10,000s place? Is it the thousands place? Is it the hundreds place? Is it the tens place? What place value was that? 10,000s. And then I always, precise there, I always will say place. 10,000s place. 961,308 rounded to the nearest 10,000s place is 960,000. Alright, let me just show you one last thing here. If we're rounding to the hundreds place, and this is a strategy and an approach, you need to know. If we round to the hundreds place, we've got this 9 right here. That's why we circled it. We move to the right and underline get it. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. Now, if we know about these digits here, we know we can fit 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 into any place in a number, but we can't fit 10 into that place there. Now, if we thought about this, though, and we add 1 to 9 still, and we have 10 there, we would be talking about 10 what? We'd be talking about 10 hundreds. We'd be talking about 10 hundreds in this case. And we know that 10 hundreds is equal to 1,000, right? And so in this case, with the way that I wrote this number, we had 879,000, and if we added one more 1,000 to that, we would get 880,000. We would get 880,000. Now, if we thought about this one more time, and we thought about this, we looked at this here, if we added 1 to this here, and to that number right there, we would be making a 10 hundreds again. And 10 hundreds is 1,000. But in this case, what I placed right here was another 9 for that thousands place. And then so for the thousands place, if we added 9 and 1 together, we would get 10. We would get 10,000s. And at 10,000s, that's why we added 1 to this digit all the way over here. All the way over here. That means 879,972 rounds to 880,000. Again, here's another example where we're rounding to the hundreds place, and then so if we're rounding to the hundreds place, 0 to 4, circle stays the same. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. And so if we add 1 to that 9, we get 10, so that's 10 hundreds. Again, 10 hundreds is actually just 1,000, and that's why the 5 here becomes a 6. And in this case, we moved and we traded those 10 hundreds for 1,000. So this is also a 0. All digits to the right, flex your muscles like a hero, and all other digits stay the same still. 55,993, nearest hundreds place is 56,000. You try one? Here's your problem. You're rounding to the thousands place. I'll help you out a little bit. Set that up. Ideally, you came up with this as your answer. Find the place values, circle that digit, move to the right, underline get it. 0 to 4, circle stays the same. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. Adding 1 to that, can't put a 10 there, so we put a 0 there. 10,000s is worth 1 10,000s. That's why the 6 becomes a 7. Flexing your muscles like a hero, digits to the right of that circled number change to 0. All other digits stay the same. So yo, you're a winner at the rounding game.